Howdy folks, Ben Gregory here and welcome to the Halftime Offload, your State Champs edition of the Halftime Offload today, where we're going to talk about all things for the New South Wales Junior Peugeot State Championships, proudly supported by the Rugby Club Foundation. Just a little bit over a week away now till the State Championships, and so we thought we'd run you through a little bit of important information and some facts and figures around what the championships are and what they mean to junior rugby across New South Wales and the country for that matter. So unfortunately the first bit of information I've got to give you is my co-host Jack Singleton can't be with us today. Now Jack and his alter ego, Greg Bennery, where he takes the mickey out of myself, he's actually out on tour. Now when I mean on tour, I did a little bit of research into Jack and I didn't realise that he had a history of impersonating, and he's actually got a rap history. Calling himself Sick Jangleton, and so he's currently on tour around some of the finer nursing homes of the eastern suburbs performing. So Jack, good luck with the performance. Sorry you can't be with us here tonight, but there's a little album cover there for you all to see some of Jack's finest work. Moving on though, we're back to rugby talk, and we're going to just run you through our state championships and what that actually is going to mean. So our first championship for the June long weekend is the under-12s, who's going to be up at Foster Tuncurry. They play for the JC Degatati Trophy, and it's going to be hosted by the Manning River Rats. Steve Reese and his team up there do a wonderful job. Gary Payton will be the competition manager. But as you're all aware, there has been a massive weather event which has hit the mid-north coast. Taree, which was our original venue, actually has been underwater, flooded, and we do think of all the folk up there who are going through some trying times now. So we did have to move the championships to Foster Tuncurry, regardless of the weather. It was another venue matter. But at the moment, I'm getting a lot of questions from people, are the champs on or off? We will be making the call about a week prior to the championships. We're giving the venue every chance to proceed as planned. We're very cognizant that a lot of people up there have lost their homes, livelihood, stock, and these are wonderful rugby volunteers that we won't be forgetting. So we're not just going to up and leave to another venue. Not that there are other venues available due to the weather has been all over the state, or the northern part anyway. So we'll be making a call, and we're also very cognizant that a lot of families have spent money on accommodation and that around Foster Tuncurry and Taree, and we certainly want to see anyone lose their money. So there will be a plan B, which will be the tournament will move to the middle weekend of the July school holidays. That's the 13th and 14th. And we plan to host that at the same venue, so people can hopefully transfer their accommodation across. And we don't want to run away from our wonderful volunteers up there who put their hand up, and we will be honouring that commitment. So that is what's happening up in the under-12s. Stay tuned. Hopefully we get some really good weather for the next couple of weeks, and we can all go ahead as planned. Howdy folks, Ben Gregory here. Look, since we recorded the episode, a little bit has changed in the landscape of the under-12s. Unfortunately, the flooding up there, the effects of that have been ongoing. The Office of the State Member and the local council have both asked us not to run the state championships up there on the long weekend. It's just too soon. The trauma in the area is still going on. There's a lot of cleanup to work. There's emergency services area. They just don't need the traffic from a state championships in that area, but they do want us to come, and the area will need our support, and we're going to honour that commitment. So we have moved the state championships to the 12th to 14th of July. It gives us the opportunity for them to have a reset, do some cleanup, and restore their lives. They've had a big impact on their community up there. People have lost homes, and it's just devastating. So we've made the decision to postpone the state championships until the 12th to 14th of July. Same venue. We're going to honour our commitment, go up there and get our junior rugby community to support that local area that's gone through a really hard time. Look, we appreciate it's not going to suit everyone. And look, if you've got a holiday planned, it is the middle weekend of the school holidays, then unfortunately you're just going to have to choose between rugby or holiday, but it is your choice. Okay, so look, our hearts do go out to all the people up in the mid-north coast, and we've made this tough call, but these people are going through much tougher times, and we wish them all the best. Moving on to the under-13s, we head out to Waratah Sports Complex there at Orange, hosted by Orange City. Penny Fisher, Chris Weston are hosting us out there, and your competition manager will be Penny herself. They play for the BJ Gregory Shield, and look, it's a fantastic venue at Orange. Waratahs has multiple fields. They put on a great show. Hopefully the pork rolls are on again this year because they're always a hit with everyone. And funnily enough, Orange in the past has had its own weather events, but the forecast out there and the recent weather has been fantastic. So you're going to have a great time out there at Orange. Don't forget to grab one of the beanies from the merchandise shop because it can get cold at Orange. But no, Orange is all ready and planned. Moving to Dubbo, where we have the under-14 boys and girls out there, hosted by Dubbo Roos, Adam Wilner and his team there. And we get great support, and I should have mentioned Orange City Council as well. We get great support from our councils out in the Central West. So Orange City and Dubbo Regional Councils, both fantastic supporters of what we do at the state championships. The boys are playing for the Horton Shield and the girls for the Phil Warner Trophy out at Apex Oval in Dubbo. As you head in, it's the first ovals past Wheelers Lane with the rhinoceros out the front. It's a great town, great facilities, and there's plenty to do if the mums want to head out to the zoo or something. If they get a little bit bored of the rugby, that's all on offer for you. Great town. 15s, we move up to Maitland, Marsland Park there, hosted by the Maitland Rugby Club. Sarah Strawn and her team will be our hosts. Shane Williams will be our competition manager. And once again, they have had a bit of weather up there, but Maitland are very lucky to own their own fields up there. So we are very confident that everything will go ahead up there as planned. And you've got a really solid venue and mums, there's wineries, there's lots to do outside of the rugby as well. But under 15s is always a great tournament. They are playing for the John Goddard Shield up in the under 15s. Moving back to Sydney now with the under 16s, and we're out at Eric Tweedale, hosted by Two Blues. Randy Basra and his team, boys, will be playing for the Chaz Hansen Shield and the girls for the Kerry Brady Shield. We're lucky enough to have our competition manager as Renee Park. She'll be ably assisted by Linda Hutton and Alexis Bonita. Great venue out there at Two Blues. The stadium out there was done up a number of years ago now. Really good venue, and our boys and girls will both have a great time there. Some really exciting stuff for those girls in particular who will have their Sydney team and country teams picked to go straight to the Nationals. I probably should have mentioned the under-14 girls. There is an extra team, the New South Wales development team that will tour Adelaide. So if you are not in a team yet, make sure you join the player pool if you're an eligible player to get out there because the pathway stuff for our girls is fantastic. But I digress. Back to the last of our venues, which is the under-18 boys and girls, run out of West Harbour there, hosted by the West Harbour Juniors. We've got Phil, Ben and Anthony as our hosts from West Harbour Juniors, and our competition manager is our president, Andrew Hutton. 3 fields there running with at the St Luke's Fields, and we're also going to use Rothwell Park, which is run by Briars. So it's only just up the road. We've got a record number of boys teams in the under 18s, 19 teams, which is the most we've ever had, and our under 18 girls have 11 teams, which once again is a record for them. Probably the highlight will be the San Diego Legion team coming across in the under 18 boys. So I know we had some American teams from the Legion out here last year at the regionals. They were very popular with all the boys who wanted to play against them, and all the girls found the American lads very charming as well. So I'm sure we'll have a bit of popularity there as well with these under 18s. So they are the facts and figures of what is occurring at our state championships. But there's a lot more that goes into our state championships. Our under 10s and 11s will have their gala in July. We'll do another piece on them at a later edition of the show. But firstly, just want to run you through, just for mostly the coaches, managers, but particularly parents and supporters, of what happens now from here, right? So we put all the coaches and managers into a WhatsApp group so we can communicate with them live on the field. So each competition manager will have access to each of those people to let them know what's going on. Now, there's some requirements that happen here for our coaches and managers. All our coaches must be smart rugby and season ready compliant. Our assistant referees must hold a level 1 assistant referees. Of course, all the players must be registered into Rugby Explorer and go into the team list on Rugby Explorer. so therefore they can play the games. Now, you as the parents, you can log into the Rugby Explorer app and you can follow all the games live on the app. So it's wonderful. If you can't be there, you can get updates on the score via the app. So go to the App Store, grab the Rugby Explorer app and follow your team. It'll be in the community section of the follow your team, and then the state champs will pop up in the competitions, and you can follow all the way through the state champs and keep abreast if you can't be there, or keep abreast of some of the fields that are going on adjacent or behind you, so you know what all the scores are. So look, they are the requirements of what we need for people to attend the state champs. On the Saturday morning, we'll ask all the teams to come in and register. Our scrutineers will be there to make sure that the players have a team sheet that they can have a photo ID. We know who's playing. They all come in, they get their game ball, they get their vests. So all our coaches and managers and officials will all be wearing a Rugby Club Foundation vest so we can identify who they are. And it's all just part of the state champs experience. And then the tournament begins. So day one and the first part of day two are the pool games. So we have a country side of the draw and a Sydney side of the draw. There's two pools on each as a rule. And they will play pool games amongst each other. And come the Sunday afternoon is when we're going to have the finals, which are basically a ranking system for us to, after the Sunday, where we'll have a ranking of both sides of the draw, the country and the Sydney side, of teams 1 through to whatever. Now, the Sunday afternoon also doubles up. So the way it works is first in pool A will play first in pool B, second, third. So we get that ranking on each side of the draw. But the first versus first game also doubles up as the country championship final and the Sydney Cup final. Now, there is a slight nuance there that we do have visiting teams from the ACT, Southern New South Wales, Melbourne and San Diego, that they aren't eligible to win the country champs or the Sydney Cup because they're not one of the affiliates of those particular associations. So what happens there, and if they finish first in their pool, they will go through as seed 1 or 2 on their side of the draw. It'll be worked out on for and against and competition points as to whether they're 1 or 2. And then we will bring the next team up from that affiliate to play the country champs final or the Sydney Cup final. So the ranking part of it is the important part for the state champs finals on the Monday, but we do need the affiliates to play those games as the country champs final. So if 2 visiting teams happen to be both seed 1 in their pools, then the 2v2 game would be the country champs or Sydney Cup final. That's how it works. On the Monday, we go to Cup, Plate and Bowl finals. So we take the top 8 teams, which might be, depending upon the 2 sides of the draw, it could be 4 from each, it could be 5 and 3, just depends on the number of entries we have from each side, Sydney and country. And they will go into the Cup, top 8 teams in the Cup, the next 8 teams into the Plate, and then the next 4, 6, 8 teams, whatever the numbers may be, into the Bowl final. What it does mean is that if you've had a couple of hard days at the state champs playing against some really strong teams, well then your Monday finals will be played against teams which should be of a similar ilk to your own, and you'll finish the state champs off with great games and against evenly matched teams, and you'll get a chance to compete for some of the minor silverware. So the model works really well and we're really happy with it. We've managed to have the country champs and the Sydney Cup all embodied within the state champs final, and it's a great opportunity for teams to finish the tournament off playing rep rugby against teams of their same ilk. So we've been doing this for about 5 years now, I think it might be, and the feedback has been very positive as to what we're doing, and so we're going to continue with that model. So all this doesn't happen without the help and support of so many people, in particularly the Rugby Club Foundation, who have been a great supporter of grassroots rugby and particularly New South Wales Juniors and the state champs. We have Peugeot as our major naming rights sponsor of the state champs this year. But we also have others. There's Stilo Travel, who are the naming rights sponsor of the Under-12 Development Gala, which we haven't even touched on, but that's a tournament run in July, which is for the second team from each zone or district. Wahoo have been a great sponsor across all of New South Wales Juniors, and they do expand around the country, particularly in that mini space. So we do thank Wahoo for all their support. But there's also all our host clubs, the local councils behind them, all the volunteers, all the coaches, all the managers, and all the parents. You're all been taxi services to your kids for so long that you probably put your Uber out of business. So thank you to everything you do to get the kids on the park and to make the state champs such an experience that it is. I'll move on to talk about a couple of other things. Firstly, the live streaming. So we do endeavour to stream every game this year. It's been one of our tasks to try and stream every field. Unfortunately, we haven't been able to come to a commercial arrangement with one of the providers, so we're working on our plan B at the moment. But there will be games streamed. It might be the two main fields as we did last year, but we are aiming to make sure we get a product that can film every game. So you can go on a New South Wales Rugby TV if you can't be there, and you can catch every game live, and you can catch the replays later on. If you're watching it live, you get the Rugby Explorer app at the same time. You have the scores and the vision, so you can feel like you're there. But stay tuned. We will come back with some more news on that. But New South Wales Rugby TV is your place to go if you cannot be at a state champs venue yourself. Okay, since we recorded the episode, a little bit's changed in the landscape of the streaming. We have been talking to our good friends at Veo who have come to the party, and we're now going to guarantee that we can stream every game of the state championships with the Veo AI cameras. So we'll do a little bit more on those cameras and the partnership with Veo in our next episode. But I want to just put a quick shout out that every game will be streamed on New South Wales Rugby TV, so you can go and get your subscription. Grandma, grandpa, brothers, sisters, aunts, uncles, family and friends can all go and watch you, especially some of our country venues where not everyone can travel, and you will be able to watch all the games on New South Wales Rugby TV. So check out our socials and work out how to subscribe, and you can catch up all the actions of the Junior Peugeot State Championships live on New South Wales Rugby TV. We do have a couple of other things on the agenda for you, which is the raffle. The Peugeot raffle run across all of New South Wales Rugby, all the affiliates through seniors, juniors, country schools, and they will be out there trying to sell raffle tickets to win a brand new Peugeot car. Now, half of the monies goes back to the clubs that sell you the tickets or the associations that are selling those tickets. So support as much as you can, get a chance to win a fantastic Peugeot car. And remember that half of the money is going back into that particular club that sells you the ticket, so it's a great fundraising opportunity for those guys. So that's the state champs in a nutshell. The only other 2 points I want to touch on are the player pool. We do have teams out there that are short a few players in certain positions. If you were trialled out for a district and you missed out on your team, or a zone and you missed out on your team, your state champs dream is not over. Join the player pool. There are teams out there looking right now for players in certain positions. If you're a girl who is eligible to join the player pool, we will find you a team, because there are girls' teams out there that are desperately looking for players right now, especially if you're a prop. So if you've missed out and you want to be part of the state champ experience, it is not over. Jump online, join the player pool, and we will find you a team to join. And of course, what's the state champs without merch? Okay. Merch is selling like hotcakes via the Sonali store. We've already sold out of the limited edition jersey is already gone. A number of sizes are starting to sell out in the state champs hoodie that we have behind me. And there's a few other products there. The vests, I think there's only one size left in the vests. The quarter zip is gone. The long sleeve tee's got a few left. Jump on, grab your merch. It is only online. There is nothing at the venues. And if you're in the 10s and 11s, you're thinking there's going to be more come when your state gala comes around, it won't. It's all on sale now. Jump in, don't miss out, avoid disappointment. That's it for the State Champs wrap. Let's move on to another segment.
New South Wales Rugby TV, your ultimate rugby destination. With over 2,500 live and on-demand replays, you'll never miss a tackle, try, or triumph. Watch anytime, anywhere, on any device. From grassroots to grand finals, we bring the action to you. Subscribe today at newsouthwalesrugbytv.com.au.
And welcome back, folks. Joining me now is a couple of our stars from the referees associations around the country. We've got Stu Dickinson and Ella Goldsmith. I'll let them introduce themselves about what they do. We start with you, Ella. What's your role in rugby nowadays?
So I work for Rugby Australia as a female participation advisor, a new role that was created leading into the 2029 Women's World Cup and have been there since November.
Oh, excellent. And Stu, you're king of refs?
No, there's only one king, mate. You're the king. This is why the program's named after you. So I'm doing a whole lot of volunteer roles. So specifically with this is working as the president of New South Wales Referees Association.
Excellent, excellent. So why don't we find a little bit more about you before we get harked back to the state champs. So Ella, have you ever refed at the state champs?
I have. My very first official appointment was at the state champs. It was the junior girls state champs at Hunters Hill back in 2021, and I did an under-13s girls game and ended up with the under-16s final, which was a draw.
Okay, and now you've had a pretty well-documented journey through rugby. Why don't you just give the viewers a quick précis of your journey and where you're at right now?
Yeah, so like I said, the official appointment was back in June, July 2021, and then first started with New South Wales referees in 2022, starting off in our suburban rugby competition, and now we've slowly progressed with the help of Stu and all the coaches, and currently in our Shoot Shield panel.
No worries, and you just recently had some pretty exciting news, I believe.
Yeah, so I've been lucky enough to be selected as a referee for the 2025 Rugby Women's World Cup that will be held in England in August and September this year.
How exciting! That's really great news. Mm-hmm. And Stu, what about your well-documented career? Talk us through.
Well, before we start with me, so Ella says she's been lucky enough. It's no luck at all. So she started with us in 2022 at Belrose Oval in her first game, and it's now 2025, and she's going to the Women's World Cup. So there's a lot of hard work, dedication, and commitment that's gone inside of that, which is around the character piece, and we're really proud of her as an association and as a group of referees. So it's awesome what she's achieved so far, and lots more to follow.
Well done. And what about yourself?
So ran around, refereed for a bit in a few years ago. I'm an old has-been now, so I started back with our New South Wales Referees Association many moons ago, and then was lucky enough to be a professional referee. So I did that through from sort of 96 through the end of 2011. Lucky enough to go through the 3 World Cups and referee Lions series and other matches, and it was a great journey. We were lucky we straddled the amateur era into the professional era, and it was amazing to be on that journey at that sort of vanguard of change, and thoroughly enjoyed it, and just great life experiences. And it was always funny where people would say, "Why would you be a referee?" Well, look at the places we go to and the things we've seen, and the experiences we get from ridiculous things like just being at Soweto on Thursday afternoon and that amazing experience, and then being at the Oxford and Cambridge Club on a Monday in London, so I mean, you couldn't get 2 different parts of the world, and just incredible experiences for all of that. So that was a bit about me, and now putting stuff back in. The game's been great to me, so I'm happy to put it back in and help our next lot of people come through.
You touched on some wonderful points there with the journey and that sort of stuff, and I want to come back to that. But before we go, you've obviously done World Cups, Lions, etc. Is there a favourite fixture of yours, like the biggest, best fixture that you got to officiate at?
Oh, look, there's lots. I think probably one with the greatest memory was really my first, what they call A International. So it was 98, and it was Wales versus South Africa. So South Africa on a run for 17 or 18 straight wins. Graham Henry had just taken over from as the Welsh coach. They'd knocked down Cardiff Arms to build it for the World Cup, so it was at the old Wembley Stadium before they knocked that down. So as a young kid growing up watching the FA Cup finals and things, so to go and referee at that ground and do that test match. And then for the older viewers that are on, Bill McLaren, one of the greatest commentators in the game, so I got to meet him before that game, and then had a couple of the most senior guys on touch, Jim Fleming and Ed Morrison, to run touch, and it was just a cracking game, and Wales were in the lead for a while. South Africa ended up winning, gave a penalty try in the first test match, and so it was happy days. We got hit by a bus the next day, and it was good life. Happy days.
How exciting.
So it was great.
How exciting. So, look, we will hark back to state champs because that's what we're here to sort of focus on today. when we have a state champs, everyone thinks about the pathway for a player to make rep teams from state champs to regionals, state things, everything else. We also think about coaches, and they start getting their progression through. We don't often think about referees, but the state champs makes a big component of the pathway for a referee. The journey you just spoke of, getting to that highest level, it all starts down at this sort of level. How important is the state champs as part of that referee progression?
Me?
Either or.
Start?
Oh, I think it is really important. A part of the state champs can show that little bit of like professionalism, how to work with a coach, how to take on feedback and be able to apply feedback quickly. So in terms of referee development, I think it's really pivotal in terms of a career and be able to show, just that little step up and that support that's there, and be able to maybe hope to show that referees that they can continue next year on that journey, maybe bring them up into the senior grade from the junior grade, or from the younger junior grades to the next year state champs. So it's a really good pathway.
Yep, and all of that, and the other part really then is a bit like the teams, learning to tour, learning how to work as a group, getting away from your comfort zone. So if you're in the country or the city, you're travelling to somewhere different, doing teams you may or may not have seen, and then having to work together as a team. And so that starts to show that character piece. So very much like the players do in those competitions, ours follows a similar vein as players go through that journey. Our referees do as well.
So, Ella, you recall going back to your first state champs. Did you feel that an increase in sort of pressure and expectation as you went from club rugby to that? Is it a step up for just our young kids coming through?
Yeah, I think it is a little bit of a step up. That was kind of my first actual official appointment. So I've done a lot of casual work on girls' sevens gala days. So then stepping into a state champs, it is definitely a different environment. It was the first time I was introduced to having a coach and having that feedback. So as I said before, that's quite a learning in being able to talk to someone and be able to use that feedback for the next game. So it is a step up, but you can kind of see people that they rise to the challenge. Pressure is a privilege, so you take that on board, and you really you're there to service the game. You're not there to make it about you. So you want to step up to that level that state champs provides.
And did you feel you came out a better referee after the experience?
Oh, 100%. I started at a 13s girls game. They had no idea how I could referee. And then I ended up getting the 16s girls final. Got a lovely medal. It was a really positive experience for me, and I was supported by some local New South Wales referees. So I don't think if I didn't have that positive experience, who knows where I would have been. So it does really set up people for success for where they want to referee in the future.
Excellent. And Stu, you're obviously been a big part of organising for this year's state champs. Can you just give our viewers a bit of an idea? How do you select the guys that go through, and what's the sort of the structure the pathway they go through to be at a state champs?
Yep. So look, we've got a committee that works on that, and we have identified a number of those referees through various programs, through the juniors here in the city and the seniors program here, as well as the country referees. So we're all in dialogue together, and then looking at who those specific referees are for that particular level or age group of tournament. And so they are then selected according to the level they're going to be at, and then work their way through. And then part of that is not only just the referees, as Ella talked around the coaches and getting some great coaching. So this is a development piece for our referee coaches, or match official developers as they're known now, so that just like the referees starting at the 12s, 13s and so on, we can then lift the profile for those coaches as well, so that they can go to tournaments and they can learn their way forward as well. So it's the same for everybody. You never stop learning, whether you've been in the game for 5 minutes or 50 years, there's always something to learn.
So it's funny, I quite often talk to, in our state champs meetings with our coaches and managers, I quite often talk to them about the referees and say, look, the referee has a coach there at every game who's going to give him feedback and review of everything he did right and wrong during the game. He probably doesn't need the coach nor the spectators to be giving him feedback, because he's probably got someone who's, in his eyes, far more important, who's going to critique his performance. What is the structure of their reviews? How do they finish their game? Does the referee coach, do they review video, or do they the referee coach talks about what they saw on the field?
Yep. So there's a framework that we have that's a national framework that's come in, so it goes across obviously the entire country around the referees. So for those that start when they first come into refereeing as a game facilitator, then we have a community version, then we also have a performance version. So inside of that is a number of criteria around the game, so the shape of the game, the speed of the game, so on, and everybody is reviewed and coached to that criteria, so that you're starting to get that same performance, that same common understanding of the game, what's required that makes up the game, and the player coaches, team coaches are well aware of that, and so together we're working to try and create a great game for the players, because at the end of the day, referees are there to service the game and give the players the best opportunity they can to play the game they want to play. So there's science around it, there's fact, there's a whole lot of conversations, and people are held accountable, and one of the big parts of that is the character piece. So we're looking for people to be vulnerable, to be able to be coached, to want to learn. So the old days of just people could do what they like in some ways. There's a structure and a framework around it now that people are accountable to that, and if certainly the character piece, if you can't reach that threshold, then you probably won't be at the next lot of championships, or you may not be successful.
Oh, look, that's some great advice. Ella, I will try and wrap this up, but if you're talking to a young girl now who's playing the game, what advice would you give to them about considering becoming a referee?
I think play as long as you want. For me, I definitely finished my time playing. I finished back in 2020, and I knew that was time for me to step away. I didn't step away from rugby. I tried AFL, but I think refereeing will only increase someone's ability to understand how to play. So if you're a young girl considering refereeing, play, and then also be able to reach out to your local association, because the more you understand the game, it actually makes you a better player. And then you can see that later on in life. There's so many opportunities now with even increased schoolgirl competition and club girl competitions, but also girls don't have to just referee girls. Girls can referee boys, and boys can referee girls. Yep. So there's a lot of opportunities out there for anyone who is considering becoming a referee. We have such supportive associations, like New South Wales, like I said, created that really positive experience for me at the state champs, which wanted me to become a referee, and I was able to do that, and with the support be able to get where I have in 3 years. So there's pathways, there's opportunities that are open, but yeah, to wrap it up, I'd say play as much as you can, but refereeing will only make you a better player.
Yeah, look, I couldn't agree more. Both my boys became referees whilst they played, and their level of play increased with their knowledge of the game, and they became better players because they were referees. So I think try and do both if you can, because it will only help your game. And Stu, the last piece I'd like to ask you is, what are some of the names that our viewers might know of referees that have come through the state champs and the pathways that are currently doing Shoot Shield or even Super Rugby sort of stuff that our viewers might know? So maybe there's a bit of name recognition there.
Yeah, well, I'm pretty sure Angus Gardner had come through and done a couple there, but certainly in the Shoot Shield at the moment, you've got Jack Larkin, Louis Trisley, Todd Cummings that have come through, Tom Chadwick as well through there, and there's and I think Quinny may have done so as well, and Harry Fenton. So there'd be at least a half a dozen or more that have come through that profile, and so yeah, it continues, and then obviously Ella, and we want.
Caitlin Winslade as well was also one of the. She refereed when I refereed at the state champs, and now she's one of our leading mods or referee coaches. So she's gone that pathway as well.
So that's the other point as well, that with refereeing. So Caitlin had played and refereed, and then said no, she wants to do the coaching piece. So there's that opportunity to be involved at any level, male and female, but particularly when Ella was talking around that, we're trying to encourage more and more females to be part of the association and into the game, and it's the biggest growth area, and we're really excited to continue that development piece. And on our association, we have Claire Adamson, so she's at the championships as well, and she's been refereeing some third grade and second grade in Sydney, but she's also on our executive, so she's leading the way with our pathways and part of that program and development for female referees. So it's really exciting times, and I know if you look at the state championships where those players have come through, and if you look at Ella's game the other week with the Super W final, that was a massive standard. And realistically, when we've got 2029 Women's World Cup, if they thought the Matildas and the Women's Soccer World Cup was great, well, wait for 2029. It's going to be something really special, because the level of game and the playing standards and the quality is incredible, and it's only going to get better in the next 4 years.
Yeah. Look, and Tony Fisher wouldn't forgive me if I didn't ask the last question. How important is the team of 5 meeting? Because we're going to have our ARs and our ground marshals who are going to have that team of 5 meeting 5 minutes before their game at the state championships. How important is the team of 5 meeting to a referee?
Crucial, absolutely crucial. So it's, as we said when we were talking about this is we're just part of the game. It's not about us as referees. Everybody needs to play their part. So this alignment piece, why it's crucial is so everybody knows their role, so everyone can have a good day. And ultimately, that's the idea of it. So it's a great call, Fish.
Look, guys, thank you very much for that. We've got some wonderful insights into what it's like to be the man or the woman in the middle with the whistle. You guys are an integral part of our game, and we couldn't have a state championship without our officials. So thank you very much for all you've done, and thank you very much for sharing some of your insights with our viewers.
Thank you very much for having us.
Thanks for having us. Great.
This commercial break is brought to you by Posca. It's vegan free, it's vegan friendly. That means it contains no sausages, no rump steak, no pork chops. But it tastes like it does. Posca.
Hey, it's Sally here from Wahoo, and we are so excited to announce a new partnership between Wahoo and the Waratahs and New South Wales Junior Rugby. And what better place to kick things off than right here at the Under 10s and 11s State Champs, where over 5,000 people are here celebrating the spirit of rugby on and off the field. So let's go taking the action, guys.
Simply fantastic to be back at Tuggerah. It's a wonderful venue with 6,000 of our closest friends and family. The game is about grassroots and having fun outdoors with families, which is exactly what our principles are, and Wahoo aligns with that perfectly.
I guess this is kind of where it all started. How good's that? It starts at grassroots level, and everyone that's ever played professional rugby comes from these kind of things.
All the boys get an instant connection with their local club. It's a really positive weekend.
So well organised, there is so many people here.
Just having all the kids around socialising is an awesome aspect.
In the downtime, the lineup to do all the Wahoo Funmaker stuff has just been really exciting.
It's just been a really lovely vibe.
All the kids have been loving it this whole weekend. They love winning all the prizes.
It's so great to see the kids having fun off the field and on the field, of course.
It's just great fun watching them enjoy the sport that we all got so much out of.
Welcome, folks, and joining me now is Tom Wagner from the San Diego Legion, the teams we've got coming over for the Under-18 Boys Championships. Tom, welcome to the Halftime Offload.
Thanks for having me, Ben.
Mate, and before we get into the team stuff, can you tell us a little bit about your role and what you do for the San Diego Legion?
Well, I'm the academy manager, so I look after all the boys that are trying to make rugby their next level sport from age 13 to 23. I'm the Waratahs rendition. That would be Andrew Cleverly. So I'm the Andrew Cleverly at the Legion.
Okay, so the American Clev. Okay, that's what we want to hear. So tell me, knowing what Clev's role is over here, how many players would you be looking after in your role? What's the scope?
I look after around 140 players right now from age 13 up to 23. We pull from about 55 different high schools and 32 clubs across California and Hawaii. So you'll have an occasional player that shows up from Hawaii. We'll have some there this year. We had some last year, as a matter of fact. But we try to field the 15 best players we can at any certain time across the age groups.
And tell me, the sport of rugby in the USA, is it on the upswing? Is it growing?
It is indeed. It is indeed. Having the Major League Rugby championships now and just growing the sport professionally, that was really the cherry on the top that we needed. But historically, most Americans were learning the game of rugby in college, and it's a little bit late to be really competitive at the international level if you do that. If you've never touched a rugby ball until you were 22, well, you're only going to be so good by the time you're 27. But the phenomenon happened in the mid-90s when we went from 300 to 600 colleges, university level, playing rugby. And that really exposed a lot more Americans to it. Now you fast forward, they start having kids. They want to have rugby in their kids' lives, and they started teams. And if you were born around 2003 to 2006 timeframe, you grew up with rugby as an option. And my generation, we didn't have that. So you learn it at college and try to compete at the international level and really get your butts kicked. But look out, there's another generation that's being trained right now, and we're giving them opportunities to go overseas. And they can forge this iron here in California, but let's see how you do in Australia and New Zealand this summer.
So tell me, America's a big, vast country, much like Australia, is quite broad. Where's the hot spot for the sort of rugby talent? Is there sort of areas like New South Wales, Queensland here where rugby's played the most? Is there sort of
rugby's played the longest, I would say, and that's really what makes it a hotbed, because the climate in California and the Carolinas on the East Coast, the climate is such that you can play rugby pretty much year round. So on the Carolinas, they're still playing sevens in our months that they're typically off. They're still training and playing rugby just like we are at the academy level, but not at the club level during the months of September, October, November, and then December when the club and high school seasons really start to kick off. That's the only two that I know of that are really getting after it in those senses. Utah does as well. So I'd say those three spots, as far as the youth rugby is concerned, the ones who take it the most to heart is probably California, Carolinas, and Utah, a little bit in Arizona as well. Those are probably the hot spots.
Excellent. And tell me, why Australia? Why are you guys coming out here?
Well, we've got a pretty good team from American standards. We usually smash everyone that we play. Just to give an example, in the last 3 years of the MLR Academy Championships, which is, the pinnacle, that's where each of the MLR teams, they select their best and their brightest. And we have an Academy Championships where we all play against each other, similar to how the Waratahs Academy plays against the Reds Academy or the Force or the Brumbies. We do the same thing here. But in the last 3 years, we have had 5 tries scored against us across those 3 championship tournaments. Last year, there was 1 try scored against us, and it was a penalty try.
Mate, I love the confidence coming out here. You're
that's
already going to be favourite with the
know,
bookies, I think.
Like I said, iron forging iron here in the States is one thing, but then we go overseas. Our U14s last year, for instance, they came to the Waratahs regional tournament and they went 1-3.
Yep.
Well, we'd like to gauge those boys against the same boys this summer. Maybe we can go 2-2. Maybe we're still at 1-3. I don't know.
Yeah,
Any win is a great win, but we know that the competition is much steeper in Australia, and that's why we like to seek out those hard games.
No, and look, we're really excited to see how your under-18 boys will go in our state championships against the best of our zones and districts that we have around the state, and the southern New South Wales, the ACT guys, etc. Tell me, you touched on that you came out to the regionals last year with your under-14, 15 team, and they did win a game. They were, as you said, they won 1, lost 3, but they were quite competitive. And you bring them back again this year to see how they go.
We are indeed. On the Waratahs regional tournament, the first weekend in July, we'll be bringing them down now as a U16 team because they all got older. What we found last year, just strategically, was that at the U14 level, their season starts around Halloween. Yep. Is really when they start training. Yep. And going from Halloween to the 7th of July is a really long season. And at the U14 level, you've got a lot of very young parents that are young to rugby, and they don't realize why am I spending almost 9 months on this one sport? And normally these athletes are, 3-sport athletes. Yep. And just spending that amount of time was pretty hard on the parents, very hard on the boys. They were sick, lame, and lazy by the time we got to New South Wales last summer. So this year we took a different approach, and we took the U14s on tour to the United Kingdom. We went to Scotland and England with the U14s about a month ago, right around Easter. The competition there, you'll probably enjoy this. The competition there is nothing like New South Wales.
Wow.
We outscored the competition 430 to 31 over 4 days of playing games. So
Wow.
that's a U14 team that's comparable to last year's two U14 team that went 1-3 in New South Wales.
Oh, well, that's look, it's going to be very exciting to have you out here. The last thing is we're actually looking to bring one of our New South Wales girls teams over to San Diego next year around Easter time. So that we've been doing some little bit of planning on that. So this is an exciting little bit. So hopefully we get over to your part of the world with one of our teams early next year.
That's great. I look forward to having them.
So, look, Tom, thanks very much for joining us quickly. We will see you at the state championships. Really excited, and good luck with the team.
Thank you, sir. Look
Thanks,
forward
Tom.
to it. Bye.
And that's about all we have time for today, folks. So good luck to everyone who's heading off to a state champs venue for the June long weekend. 6 venues running around the state. Big thank you again to all our host clubs and volunteers. You're going to have a wonderful experience and memories that your kids will remember for many, many years to come. So thank you to all our guests. Good luck at the state champs, and we'll catch you at the next edition of the Halftime Offload.